At Marlins Park in Miami, Florida, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. Tuesday Night Baseball is presented by Verizon. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the Better Network. Verizon, better matters. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By your local Chevy dealers who are proud to support the Mets on their drive to the wild card. By StubHub, looking for great seats, head to StubHub, the official ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. And by New York Lottery Baseball Bingo, for a chance to win a trip to 2017 Mets spring training. Go to sny.tv/baseballbingo for details. 5 games to go for the Mets, 6 games to go for the Giants and Cardinals, and it couldn't be tighter in the National League wildcard race, brought to you by Empire City Casino. The Mets a half game up on the Giants and a game and a half up on St. Louis. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the middle game of their second to last series of the year as they take on the Marlins tonight. News today that Steven Matz is done for the year. He's going to undergo elbow surgery to remove the long-standing bone spur in his elbow. He also has shoulder discomfort. No surgery necessary there. But that means of the 6 starters the Mets began the year with, Harvey, Matz, DeGrom, and Wheeler all out for the year, leaving only Bartolo Colon, who pitched last night. And tonight, Noah Syndergaard, the last ace left standing. 2 starts to go in his season, and it is now crunch time for Noah Syndergaard.
Well, Gary and Keith, it has been an amazing year, of course, for Noah Syndergaard, but really this is where you cut your teeth as a pitcher. He has a chance to pitch 2 more times in this season after the inability of Colon to get through 3 innings. This is the time of year when your ace starter, and Syndergaard has been that ace all season long, steps up and throws 7 scoreless, 8 scoreless, takes the game just out of the Marlins' hands and puts it in the Mets' hands. If he starts twice down the stretch, the Mets have to win both games.
Syndergaard trying to bounce back from a poor start 8 days ago and bounce back from a case of strep throat. Meanwhile, the Mets and Marlins will both take a deep breath after last night's emotional game. It was the Marlins' night last night as they honored the memory of Jose Fernandez. What do we expect to see from these 2 teams tonight?
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if I don't see how there's going to be anything in the tank as far as that Marlin club over there in that third base dugout is concerned. They put it all on the line out there yesterday in that ball game. For the Mets, hey, it's back to business. You got 5 games left. You're on top of the heap, even though it's a half game and it's tied in the loss column. If you win and win out, no one's going to catch you. So it's back to business. Let's play ball.
Mets needed to get even in this series and keep their momentum going over the final days of the season. Jose Fernandez will be laid to rest on Thursday. Fans continue to honor his memory outside Marlins Park. We'll be back to Miami. Brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. By Nationwide, speak with Jonathan Ginsburg in Oceanside or David Grodner in Brooklyn today. And by the all-new 2017 Hyundai Elantra. It's not just new, it's better. Place a deposit on your full or partial 2017 ticket plan today. Mets season ticket plans lock you in for all the big games, including opening day and the Subway Series, and give you priority postseason access. Place your deposit on a 2017 ticket plan at Mets.com/deposits or by calling 718-507-TIXX. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. The games of import to the Mets in the wild card standings. Adam Wainwright goes for the Cardinals tonight as they try to get even with the Reds, who stomped on St. Louis last night. And Matt Moore makes the start for the Giants later tonight against the Rockies. And German Marquez, who won his first big league start his last time out. Here in Miami, the Mets will try and get even with the Marlins. Roof closed. Mets in Miami. First pitch coming right up. Geico. Jay Bruce in there again tonight. Bruce's bat has been showing signs of life. Lucas Duda gets the start tonight at first base after he came off the bench last night, had some decent at bats. TJ Rivera another start at second base. As the Mets, who had a great offensive series against the Phillies, scoring 44 runs in 4 games, held to 3 runs last night. Their 7-3 loss. Try and get the offense regenerated tonight.
You know, guys, in some ways, I feel like Tom Kohler almost pitches for the Mets because he pitches so often. This is his 18th start, 21st game. You see his Toyota numbers, lots of walks in his 170 innings, and the home run ball has really bit him his last dozen starts.
Marcell Ozuna putting a note in the dirt in tribute to his fallen teammate Jose Fernandez. There were media reports today that Ozuna was invited by Fernandez to join him on what turned out to be his fatal boat ride, and that Ozuna, who has a wife and 3 kids, decided to turn him down and stay home. only imagine how Marcell Ozuna feels.
Oh, man. The Marlin Coors Light defense, and I mentioned last night, can't find three better arms out there in those outfield positions than those three guys. And on the infield, Bohr last night had a big night at the dish. Prado solid defensively. The middle infielders, Gordon and Echeverria, are absolutely top-notch defensively, and Real Muto behind the plate.
Gordon sharing a hug.
Well, John Hirschbecker was behind the plate last night. Great guy. Well documented. He lost 2 of his own children, and he knows the ultimate sadness himself.
Jose Reyes set to lead things off for the Mets. Rosin bag out of the Marlins dugout. Reyes 1 for 5 in last night's game. He has hits in each of his last 5 at-bats against Tom Kohler. And Kohler's first pitch of the night is on the outside corner for a strike, and we're underway. 4th time the Mets have faced Kohler this year, and he has struggled against his hometown team. Reyes with a half swing, and he went around for strike 2.
Kohler's issue, he's got an overhead curveball, and he's just erratic with it. When he throws a good game, he gets that curve over along with his sinker.
Well, as Ronnie mentioned, Mets have seen plenty of Kohler, who made his first start against the Mets on the final day of the 2012 season. He matched up that day against Jeremy Hefner. So from the last day of 2012 here till the last week of 2016, 18 starts for Kohler against the Mets.
There's the curve right there, RJ. Little 12-6 over the top. Not a lot of sharp break to it.
Yeah, if he's getting that over, though, he's sitting now he's 2-7 against the Mets, but he's had some good games against them, so he's been unlucky at times also.
And he comes inside to Reyes 1-2. There's Drupal Cabrera on deck. Then Yoenis Cespedes for the Mets. Kohler's last start was against the Nationals last Wednesday. Threw 85 pitches in 4 innings. Didn't have good control that day. Reyes lofts one foul. Speaking of the Nationals, how about the loss that they suffered last night? Wilson Ramos, a torn ACL, out for the season.
You know, people that cover the Nationals, Murphy's had an amazing year. Most people think that Ramos has been their MVP.
And the curveball strikes out Reyes for the first out of the night. Well, Wilson Ramos tore up that same knee in 2012, his ACL and his MCL. And the torn ACL this year, he jumped for a ball and came down awkwardly on the knee, and he is out for the season. And you know, with Murph questionable right now and Harper questionable right now, this is the biggest blow that the Nats have suffered as they head toward the postseason.
And you were telling me today Strasburg is not going to be available, right, for the NLDS?
They just announced that this afternoon. Here's Drupal Cabrera, 2 for 3 last night. He pops one foul back and out of play. The Nationals are also in a battle right now with the Dodgers, whom they will play in the division series for who gets home field. The Nats are 1 game ahead of the Dodgers going into play tonight. Cabrera's got great numbers against Kohler, and he drives one to center field, but Yelich is right there waiting for it, and that's the second out. So 2 out and nobody on. And now you went to Cespedes. Cespedes 0 for 5 last night.
He's been in a funk.
I think the death of Jose Fernandez hit Cespedes much harder than any of us understood.
Yeah.
his countryman, whom he did not know well, but watching him last night, he seemed to be greatly moved.
Well, they all share one common bond, and that was trying to find a way off that island at some point.
Well, you talked about Syndergaard and how much the Mets need him over these final days. They need Cespedes in the same fashion. He's the man who carries the offense. He's gone hitless the last 2 days. You see his numbers over the last 2 weeks. And the breaking ball fouled off 1 and 2.
You know what's interesting, and of course I leave the hitting to Keith. The one thing I see with Cespedes the last few days when I've watched him, he's off balance a lot. He's falling across the plate a lot. I don't know what that means exactly, but usually he has such good balance.
He's been popping up to the right side of the infield a lot. But you know what? He takes a vicious cut. This game is full of ebbs and flows, and he's just going through just a little period. His slumps don't last long.
It's all about timing, right? You can't afford an ebb with 5 games to go in the season when you're in the midst of a dogfight. 2-2 from Kohler, and it's fouled back. Kohler overall 9 and 12 this year. He's had some fits and starts this year. He got off to a poor start. He had a pretty good middle, but now these last 8 starts, 0 and 4, 4.60. Two out and nobody on. 2 and 2 to Cespedes. And the fastball just missed. Kohler wanted that call.
Woo. That's a good pitch right there.
Let's watch the catcher's glove. He was knee high. Boy, you got to have that one.
DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpire. 3-2 coming to Cespedes. The off-speed pitch drilled to left center. Yelich moves over in front of it, and that retires the side. So Kohler pitches a 1-2-3 opening inning and gets through Cespedes. Marlins, who put up 7 runs and 14 hits last night, and they'll go with the same starting 8 as last night for Don Mattingly. As Noah Syndergaard takes the mound for the first time in 8 days.
Well, unbelievable numbers. Only threw 43 walks, 177 and 2/3 innings pitched, over 200 Ks. Looking for his 14th win.
D. Gordon leads off and takes ball 1. D. Gordon's leadoff at bat in the bottom of the first last night produced one of the signature emotional moments that baseball has seen in a long time. Tries to drop down a bunt. Syndergaard off the mound, and Gordon has himself a bunt hit without a throw. Much more D. Gordon's game than that home run last night. He had 4 hits last night and a bunt single to start this game. And that immediately puts the running game in play against Syndergaard.
Well, a perfect bunt by Gordon deadened it, and Syndergaard really didn't bust off the mound. And I think he just gave up on it after a while, figured he wouldn't be able to get him anyway. And the running game begins.
Marcell Ozuna hitting second in the order, 1 for 5 last night. Gordon has 27 stolen bases, led the league in steals last year with 58. Syndergaard's given up 47, by far more than any pitcher in the game. He's gotten a little better lately. He's had some caught stealings. But Gordon, one of the best in the game. And he takes off first pitch. Rene Rivera's throw. Just a shade too late, and Gordon has a stolen base, his 28th of the year.
He is so explosive here. His first 2 steps out of the box, I knew he had it stolen from the get-go.
Good pitch for Rivera to throw with. Pretty good throw. Not even close.
So explosive. It's like he's being catapulted from that stop position.
So a runner at second and nobody out. And Syndergaard buries the changeup, and it's 1-1. Well, there you see the gap between Syndergaard and everybody else in the National League this year in stolen bases allowed.
Interesting to see Rivera going out there, what, on the 4th pitch? See that, his feet there, the crossover, which is, you have to learn that to be a good base stealer, and staying low is one of the keys also.
Check swing foul. 1-2 to Ozuna.
You got an overpowering hard thrower in Syndergaard. You got TJ Rivera, who's at second base tonight, is holding on Gordon at second. And we've seen enough of Ozuna. He goes that way, and this is a situation where you want to advance the runner. I'd be a little less inclined to have Rivera hold Gordon, unless you're going to pound him in.
Which he has the last 2 pitches.
Yes, he has. Because you've got Cabrera playing pretty much straight up, way off the bag, not even a factor in holding on Gordon. It's all up to TJ Rivera.
Martin Prado on deck. 1-2 to Ozuna. And Syndergaard has got to be wary of Gordon, who is certainly inclined to steal third.
Yes.
2-2 to Ozuna. Syndergaard's last outing was 8 days ago against the Braves, one of his worst outings in his career. Got knocked out in the 4th inning, didn't have good command, gave up 5 runs on 8 hits and 3 walks, very unlike him. Then he came down with strep throat, had to have his start pushed back a few days, through a bullpen session on Friday. And he's just got a piece of it on the slider. Still 2-2.
Alexis defense for the Mets. He's Granderson's 27th start in center field. Who would have thought that when the season started? Jose Reyes, I must say, I got to highlight him. He has just played such a wonderful third base, taking all the pressure off Cabrera. Rene Rivera behind the plate. With the bad knee of Cabrera, Reyes has got great range to his left. And he is taking a lot of pressure off of Asdrubal as far as covering to his right. He can play shade more up the middle. He's really taken to third base.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat from Syndergaard to Ozuna. Mets made a choice. They could have pitched Syndergaard last night and Cologne tonight, which would have set up the weekend somewhat differently. But one of the reasons they pushed Syndergaard back is they felt that he needed the extra day to recover from the strep throat. He had basically 3 days where he didn't eat anything. And even when he threw that bullpen session over the weekend, he was a little gassed by the end of it. So I figured the the better side of caution was to use the extra day. And what that serves to do too is if the Mets somehow are able to clinch a wild card spot by Saturday, then they can save Syndergaard for the wild card game the following Wednesday. But that's all ahead of the Mets, and much of it depends on how Noah pitches tonight. Now the 3-2 coming, and it's hit to the right side, and that's going to sneak through for a base hit. Gordon around third. He'll score easily with the first run of the night. Ozuna hitting to the right side, found the hole on the right side, and Gordon comes home, and it's 1-0 Miami.
Well, that's why I was a little leery of Rivera holding the runner on. That was a little slow roller that got through the infield. Look where Rivera is, top of your screen. That's just a slow roller, and it gets through. With 2 strikes on a hitter, he's more inclined to go the other way. He just can't run this ball down.
Rivera's in there because of his bat. He doesn't have a lot of range at second.
So the Marlins strike first. 2 batters into their opening inning. Now Ozuna aboard with nobody out. And here's Martin Prado, who was 0 for 5 last night. But it was a hard 0 for 5. He hit the ball hard 4 times. And Syndergaard sinks one low and in. Ball 1. So a bunt single, a stolen base, and a slow ground ball combined to put a run on the board against Syndergaard.
Yeah, and Syndergaard was pretty irritated. He didn't have much of a reaction, a little gesture with his hand, but you get irritated when a ball that rolls and bounces 18 times makes it through the infield for a base hit. You can't let those things affect you, but they will if you let them. Makes you very irritable, angry.
I never knew you got irritable.
Oh, I spend my life being irritable.
Always cool as a cucumber out there.
It's all simmering under the surface.
Yes, it is.
Prado fouls it back. And Martin Prado's had himself a fine year. He's faded a bit down the stretch of the season, and of note, he's grounded into 23 double plays this year, more than any player in the National League. And Syndergaard could certainly use one of those. Grounded down to third. Reyes on the short hop. Out at second. Rivera with the turn. In time for the double play. 24th time Prado's grounded into one. 5-4-3 for the first 2 outs.
Outstanding timing on your part, Gary.
Watch Jose come get the short hop. He's very good at getting rid of the ball quickly, Jose. And that's just nothing different. It's a longer throw from short as opposed to being at shortstop, but he's so quick at getting rid of that ball.
So that erases the base runner. 2 out and nobody on for Christian Yelich. Yelich 1 for 4 last night, but has been a huge thorn in the Mets side this year. 26 hits against the Mets this year, hitting .400 with 4 homers and 14 RBIs in the 17 games. And Syndergaard misses away. His command of his fastball not top notch early on.
Barry Bonds, a hitting coach, first year with the Marlins, back in uniform.
Mets have won 10 of 17 from the Marlins so far this year. Runs per game about the same. Home runs about the same. Mets have won 4 of 7 here in Miami.
You haven't dominated them, have they?
Yelich behind the bag. Cabrera runs it down. Side retired. Marlins scratch out a run. D. Gordon using his speed. 1-0 Miami after 1. Marlins Park. Mets down 1-0. Curtis Granderson leads off against Tom Kohler. Granderson 1 for 4 last night, 21 RBIs in his last 24 games, and yet the 56 RBIs with 30 home runs would be by far the fewest RBIs in history for a 30 home run hitter.
Whoa.
The record was set by Felix Mantilla, who would later play for the Mets. 64 Red Sox, actually had already played for the Mets. 64 Red Sox.
Okay.
He had 30 home runs and 64 RBIs, and that was tied by Rob Deere with the 1992 Tigers. He also had 64 RBIs.
Really? Deere was an unusual hitter. It was home run or nothing, or strikeout.
Yeah.
One or the other.
He was a big, strong guy, boy.
4-pitch walk to Granderson, and the Mets have their first base runner of the night.
You know, it's those kinds of at-bats for Kohler that are the reason he's 9-12 instead of 12-9. All right, he gets a run. Granderson's up first. 4-pitch walk.
Here's Jay Bruce. Last 3 days have been encouraging for Jay. 4 for 9 with a home run in those 3 games. He had a couple of hard outs last night as well. And he drives one deep right field, down the line, toward the stands. It's out of here! Jay Bruce with a 2-run homer to put the Mets in front 2-1. That's the Jay Bruce the Mets thought they were getting at the trading deadline. And in the final week, Bruce puts the Mets in front with his 31st home run of the year.
Watch how he waits on this and explodes in the ball at the last minute. He's been flying out too quick. He stayed in that time, and that was a no-doubter.
So a 4-pitch walk, a first-pitch home run, and just like that, the Mets are in front. T.J. Rivera robbed of a hit on a jumping snag by Martin Prado for the first out.
I think what that Bruce home run shows you, folks, is just how much power he has. First pitch changeup from Kohler. Like you said, Keith, he stayed back. And I think he's going to have a huge week. You know why? Because he's on the road. I think he's going to be relaxed, and that was a relaxed swing there.
Well, look, he just got the ball in the fat of the bat. It was a fastball, Ron, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
And
just a bad one.
And he stayed back. Let's just hope that that ignites him.
Last 10 at bats, 5 hits, 2 home runs. Certainly the signs are pointing in a positive direction. Duda with the left side of the infield open, trying to bunt, not a bad idea, but running up rather than squaring and pushing the ball to the open space. This is what these big sluggers have to learn if they're going to bunt for hits. There's no reason to be running up like you're dragging a bunt.
It's a push bunt.
Takes up and in from Kohler, a ball and a strike. You can understand Duda wanting to do that against Kohler, a guy he has had no success against. He's 3 for 27 against Tom Kohler. And the curveball has him fishing, 1-2.
How about the gorilla that just jumped off the back of Jay Bruce?
800 pounds.
Right.
Bruce now has hit 6 home runs in his 46 games with the Mets. 31 home runs for the year, 94 driven in. And what could be better than a fully productive Jay Bruce for these final 5 games of the year? Duda lays off the curve again. It's 3-2. Lucas 1 for 2 last night. He drove in a run with an 8th inning single. Hit that single through the hole into left field. Rene Rivera waiting on deck. 3-2 coming. And he got a piece of that one. Justin Bour, the first baseman, practically standing on the line.
I realize that you have D. Gordon out there in right field. Now, to me, you're playing on the fringe of the outfield grass.
As ball 4, second walk of the inning for Kohler after he got ahead on Duda.
You could play 10 feet off the line, and then that allows D. Gordon to get 10 feet further up the middle. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, Kohler does not get his breaking stuff over. He becomes meat and potatoes.
Now we'll face Rene Rivera with 1 out and 1 on. Rivera's last start was on Sunday. He was on base 4 times in that game, and he takes one the other way for a base hit. Duda to second. He'll pull in there. So 5 men have come to bat in this inning. 4 have reached base, and now there are 2 aboard for Syndergaard.
And let's not forget that I really feel that this is, there's the hit right there, the opposite field, that this is a very difficult game for the Marlins, who I think have expended a lot of emotion last night, and Kohler was a part of that, and he's the one that's got to be out there starting, Ronnie.
Yeah,
he's going to have to exert the most energy of anybody out there on this playing field in a Marlin uniform. It's a tough game for the Marlins, a tougher game for Kohler.
Corners are in. Marlins looking for the bunt, and Syndergaard does square. And it goes to the backstop. That's a wild pitch, and the runners will move up. The throw to third, and Duda arrives there safely. I think the runners were confused for a moment as to whether that was a foul ball, but it was not. And Duda and Rivera get to third and to second.
Syndergaard pulled his bat back in enough time. See,
oh, it's a foul ball.
It is a foul ball again.
Oh,
remember last night there was a foul ball that wasn't called.
That is not challengeable, correct, Gary?
That's correct.
That's why Duda got such a bad jump. He saw the foul ball.
That's what I mean.
What is going on?
And Don Mattingly comes to the top step to yell at the home plate umpire, DJ Rayburn, much like last night, to try to get some help.
Oh, look at this.
And now they're going to call the umpires together, just as they did last night. They did not overturn the call in last night's game. It certainly appeared to tick the bat.
It definitely ticked the bat.
So we'll wait to see whether the other umpires can provide any assistance to Rayburn. And they're not going to change it. So nobody else saw it. That's the same play 2 nights in a row that the umpires have gotten wrong in the Mets' favor.
What is going on?
You would think the sound alone would be a giveaway, the ball coming off the bat, but apparently not. So it's a pass ball that moves the runners to second and third.
And why isn't the catcher in his face arguing? What are they, sedated? Let's go. I mean, come on, ump. Oh, he got one off the face mask. Like, jeez.
Infield is in for the Marlins, already down 2-1 with 2 in scoring position. Unusual to have the infield in. And the curveball is in for a strike, 1-2.
To me, it's not that unusual when you have a pitcher who can't hit, but not with Syndergaard.
He just gives you so much space to potentially drive in 2 runs.
Although Syndergaard has struck out 33 times this year. Big number.
To go with his 3 home runs.
Oh, yeah, but he's
a power hitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Slider at his feet, and it's 2-2. It's that trade-off, Ronnie.
Okay, right.
Home runs for strikeouts.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He's hitting once every 5th day. Give him a break.
Oh, me now.
Duda at third, Rene Rivera at second with 1 out. Syndergaard has driven in 6 runs this year and takes the curveball for strike 3 called. Kohler backdoored him for the 2nd out of the inning. Kohler's 2nd strikeout.
Well, now he's going to have a more formidable foe at the plate, and that'll be Jose Reyes. Nice backdoor breaking ball.
So here is Jose, who struck out his first time up, snapping a string of 5 straight hits against Kohler. He's now 5 for 8 against Kohler in his career.
No speed at third base, but Kohler's still going to pitch from the stretch.
Duda the runner at third. Rene Rivera at second. Neither runs well. And Reyes hits one to the right side. 1 hopper for Gordon. And that retires the side. So the Mets take the lead on the Jay Bruce home run to leave a couple stranded. Bruce's 31st home run of the year after a 4-pitch walk to Granderson. Jay ready to jump the first one and hit it up into the second deck. Bruce's home run gives the Mets a 2-1 lead in the second. Giancarlo Stanton leads off the bottom of the second against Noah Syndergaard. And Stanton has the jaw protector back on tonight. Didn't have it last night facing Bartolo Colon.
It's a 95 plus.
Kind of a diss to the guys he doesn't wear it against, right?
Well, I don't know if it was anything symbolic about not wearing it.
And he strikes out on 3 pitches. Syndergaard's first strikeout of the night. Well, he generally has worn it against the righties, but not against the lefties.
You know, my issue is if you're going to wear it all the time so you get used to it.
Well, obviously it must bother him to some extent. Otherwise, he would wear it all the time, right?
He got hit the couple. How many years ago? Two in
years.
Pittsburgh, correct? It was in
Houston. No, Mike Fiers.
Mike Fiers, yeah.
Milwaukee.
Right. Justin Bour 3 for 3 last night. A single, a double, a triple. Had a chance for the cyclist last time up, but drew a walk. His first big league triple, and he hit it really hard.
Yes, he did.
He had been in a dreadful slump since coming back from 2 months on the sidelines with an ankle injury, but last night got him going. Syndergaard behind him 2-0. And that's lined to left field, and Bour's got another hit.
He's an animal.
4 for 4 now in this series.
I really like this guy.
He stays level on this fastball away. Look at that. He is so strong.
He's becoming a Met killer. He came into the night hitting .358 for his career against the Mets, and he adds to that.
Last 2 years, 23 for 60, 8 for 19 this year. Remember, he was hitting .370 when he went on the disabled list this year.
There's JT Realmuto, 1 for 4 last night, hitting .307 for the year, 7th best in the National League. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Realmuto has great numbers against the Mets this year. 18 hits in 52 at bats for that .346 average. That's his second big league season and really coming into his own offensively. Skims one foul, and it's 0-2. Danny Echeverria, the number 8 hitter on deck. Syndergaard gave up a quick run in the first on a bunt single, a stolen base. That was D. Gordon. And then Marcell Ozuna, a soft single to bring Gordon in. And he runs one inside, 1-2. It's Noah's third start against the Marlins this year. He's been dominant in the first two, 21 strikeouts in 14 innings, a win and a no decision. Just 3 runs allowed in 14 innings. Fouled away. That last start against Atlanta, he had great velocity but nothing else. Really could not command any pitch, and he was gone inside of 4 innings. Threw 99 pitches in 3 2/3 in that game. That's how badly it went for him. That's it out to right. Brewers came in a step, now going back, and gets there for the second out. So Real Muto retired 2 away. What was significant about that last start is that in those 99 pitches, Syndergaard gave up 26 foul balls, which was reminiscent of that mid-season stretch when he couldn't get beyond 5 innings because he was throwing so many pitches and giving up so many foul balls.
You know, I've said it before. As he gets better, and he's only going to get better, he's going to do a better job of getting hitters to put the ball in play earlier in the count, especially with his 2-seam fastball. And then when he gets ahead of hitters 0-2, 1-2, he's going to put them away right away.
And that's something he was doing his last half dozen starts before that Atlanta game. 4-1, 1.36, pitching deep into games. Echeverria fouls one off, and it's 0-2.
Well, let's hope that his last start and Cologne's start last night are their last bad ones, you know?
Well, if the Mets hope to get to the postseason or have any success in the postseason, that would be mandatory.
I don't know. Every time Lugo and Gesellman go out there, they win.
Seems that way. Lugo pitches tomorrow night in the final game of this series. Echeverria shoots one up the middle for a base hit. So on an 0-2 pitch, Echeverria bangs one through the middle, and the Marlins have 2 men on, and the pitcher Kohler coming up.
Ball's down and in. And everybody's a low ball hitter. Both sides of the dish today. Been better to go up and in. But nice hitting by the youngster, Mr. Echeverria.
So now Kohler, 5 hits this year, lifetime 0-90 hitter.
You know, we're talking about Gary Sanchez. 51 games it took for him to hit his 20 home runs. Shares that record with Wally Berger. Berger hit 38 home runs in his rookie year for the Boston Braves.
Boston Braves.
Yeah.
That 39.
39. Yeah.
Kohler swings and misses at the fastball. Also tonight, Gene Segura hit his 20th home run for Arizona. You had information about that?
Yeah, he's the 104th person in the major leagues to have 20 or more home runs. That breaks the record of 103 in 1999.
Well, it's going to be another record-setting year for strikeouts in the majors, and it may well be a record-setting year for home runs as well. You know what that means? Fewer balls in play.
It means loosen the threads up on next year's balls, not wound so tight.
Oh, 2 to Kohler, and he goes down on 3 pitches, and Syndergaard gets through the inning. His second strikeout as he strands a pair. The Mets lead 2-1 going to the 3rd.
Just let it go. I don't even know if I was stuttering. I don't know if I was saying the right stuff. It's just all pure emotion, and that's what it showed. I wasn't worried about how good we were going to play tonight because I know that we weren't going to allow this game to get past us like this. And even though we were hitting balls from underwater pretty much, our eyes full of water, the numbers were still there, and we found a way to do it, and all together.
When the Marlins came together as a team last night, both before the game and after the game, and formed a circle around the mound, it was Giancarlo Stanton who took charge and did the talking. And he said afterward, not even sure what he said.
Yeah,
it was just pure emotion,
organic, and said it. Interesting. One of the great things about this game is that you saw in that shot with D. Gordon and Stanton be any size and be great at this game.
That's a great point.
I had to interview Stanton once, and you feel like you have to do a couple of push-ups before you ask him a question. I mean, geez.
It's like one big muscle.
It's David. It's the statue of David.
You know, we showed you last night the pregame meeting around the mound with the Marlins carving their Jose Fernandez's initials and number into the mound. We showed you the postgame meeting where they all threw their caps onto the mound. They put the game ball there. What you didn't see is an hour after the game, the whole group came back out again after everybody else had left and raised a toast.
That's right.
To Jose Fernandez.
And then the whole team went over to Stanton's house and hung out and just shared their remembrances of their fallen friend.
So that was their private moment.
Yeah.
And all those things are part of the grieving process.
They are.
Right? The tears, and then the laughter, and the celebration of Jose's life. Cabrera lines one toward the right field line. Stanton will have to play that on the hop. And as Dribble Cabrera has a leadoff hit to start the Mets in the third. He just keeps on hitting. 3 for 5 now in this series.
Up and in. He's been turning on that inside pitch.
Last 7 games, 13 for his last 29.
He's now played 37 games since coming off the disabled list as Dribble Cabrera. And in those 37 games, he's hitting .369.
A blonde forever? It's got to be. Got to stay with it.
Don't break what's working. Here's Cespedes, who lined out to center field his first time up. And Kohler overthrew that fastball, ball 1.
It's amazing for baseball clubs, and you hear more of it about teams that are winning or going to be in the postseason. The little things that happen in the course of the season that are part of their superstition that they think works, or whether it's the blonde hair. We remember there was one team that would have a certain animal in their dugout during games. It was, you never know what's going to work.
The Angels have the rally monkey.
There you go. And the boomsticks.
Right. There was the rally squirrel a couple of years ago.
That's right.
This year the Kansas City Royals had the rally mantis, the praying mantis that they used as a rallying point.
No thank you.
Rally mantis came up short, by the way.
Cespedes had that amareño sleeve that he would wear, right?
The parakeet sleeve.
All the scouting reports that you get, and you don't get that Cabrera is playing on one leg.
Driven to deep center field, way back, hit it toward the home run sculpture. Cespedes puts one out of sight. An enormous feat of strength by Yoenis Cespedes, his 31st home run of the year. We've seen him hit a lot of them. That's one of his longest. 4-1 New York.
Cespedes and Bruce in the same game. 2-run bombs. How's that work for you?
That's the way the Mets drew it up when they acquired Jay Bruce. Cespedes had been cold in the last couple of weeks. This was hot.
Wanted to come inside and throw it right down Broadway, and that was an artillery shell.
It hit the very back part of that sculpture where the yellow line is.
Of course, the sculpture only erupts when a Marlin hits a home run, but it was almost as though Cespedes was trying to break it.
Yeah, he tried to knock it down.
That was impressive.
He got a fat one down in the strike zone, and no doubt.
God, what does this feel like to hit a ball like that?
So the Mets with a couple of impressive home runs. 2-run shot by Bruce in the second, 2-run shot by Cespedes here in the third. Granderson pops one down the line, and that will be untouched in the front row. Fuller's now given up 22 home runs this year in 172 innings.
Ball you hit off Mark Davis in San Francisco. Is that one of the farthest balls you ever hit as a pro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That pinch hit.
Yeah.
0-2. Hanging curveball.
Oh, you barely remember.
Good change up by Kohler to strike out Granderson. Well, let me ask you this, because you were there for both of them as you watch the Cespedes home run again. So if you take the one that he hit into the third deck at Citi Field earlier this year, and compare it to this one that he hits way out into left center and so far over the fence, how do you gauge those two?
I mean, that one to me, I try to gauge it with my eyes and the sound that it makes. And as soon as he hit that ball, I could hear myself gasp on air. I mean, he just squared it up perfectly.
And he knew it too.
Yeah.
See, when you impress the other home run hitters, that's when you know you've done something.
You know, he's one of the big power hitters in baseball. I mean, he's hit 30 home runs how many times now in his career?
It's the second time last year and this year.
Yeah, but he's hitting the 20s every year.
35 last year, 31 this year. That's lined the other way, and a great catch by Echeverria. That's a stunning play to rob Jay Bruce of a hit.
It's a heck of a play. I thought he had no chance on this ball. Oh my goodness, totally horizontal to the ground. Watch him, top of your screen. Little late break. Laid out horizontal.
That ball was past him.
And you know, these are good signs for Mr. Bruce.
Even his outs are loud now.
Yeah. And he's, and he's got to start feeling, but it's okay. He hit the ball hard.
He had the same reaction every hitter in the history of the games has when they come back on that one.
Well, you know, there's a solution for that.
Yes, there.
You hit him where there's nobody playing, up in the second deck like he did the first time.
He'll do that too.
Yeah. T.J. Rivera was robbed of a hit on a leaping grab by Prado his first time up. So the Mets are hitting some rockets against Tom Kohler tonight. Both the home runs and the outs. That's driven to right center field, and TJ's got himself an extra base hit. That'll roll all the way back to the wall. Will he try for three? He's going to head to third. And in standing with a 2-out triple. First major league triple for T.J. Rivera. It's a big ballpark. You hit it in that right center field gap. You should get a pretty good chance for three.
Continues to hit. Mr. Rivera, fastball away, goes right with it. Up.
I think San Francisco probably is the #1 park for triples, but this is #2. He runs pretty good.
He's from the Bronx. Of course he runs well. Now Lucas Duda will be intentionally walked, and they'll bring up Rene Rivera with runners at first and third. So Duda will draw his second walk of the night. Nobody up as yet in the Marlins bullpen. Kohler getting hit hard by the Mets again. That's really been his experience in every one of his starts against the Mets this year.
Can I ask you a question? Why do intentional passes count against your pitch count?
That's a really good question. If intentional balls count against your pitch count, so should throws to first, right?
Yeah.
MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD and over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. I'll take it a step further, Ronnie. Intentional walk should not count against a pitcher's record as a walk.
Yeah.
It should be a completely separate category. Rene Rivera takes a curveball for a strike.
Managers walk.
Yeah, I mean, you have walks and you have intentional walks, but on the stat sheet, the intentional walks are included in your walk total.
That's right.
Adrisamer Despaigne, the former Padre, up in the Marlins bullpen.
He's got his high tops on.
You talk about your classic junk baller.
Thank God we asked for his pronunciation before the game.
Rivera shot a single through the right side his first time, and he takes a big swing at a slider, and it's 1-2. TJ Rivera at third, Duda at first with 2 out. 1-2 to Rene, and he hits a little dribbler. Kohler has to come off the mound to barehand it, and his throw in time to get Rivera and end the inning. But the Mets get their second 2-run homer of the night. A thing of beauty from Yoenis Cespedes, rattling the home run sculpture. 31st of the year for Yoenis and a 4-1 Mets lead. On SNY, teaming up with the New York Jets, we provided local youth football leagues with grants, equipment donations, clinics, and special Dream Day experiences. See SNY's Play Ball program in action on Geico Sports Night tonight at 10:30, only on SNY. Noah Syndergaard staked to a 4-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the third. He'll start his second time through the Marlins batting order. Pete Gordon leads off. He bunted for a hit, stole a base, and scored the Miami run in the first inning. And takes a strike from Noah. Gordon, Ozuna, and Prado for the Marlins in the third. And Syndergaard gets ahead with a slider, 0-2. So if you're taking a look at Noah Syndergaard tonight and looking at a pitcher who's coming off strep throat a few days ago, which really knocked him out. That's a good slider to get Gordon. And his third strikeout.
Two pitches right in a row in the same spot.
Do you concern yourself about how far he can go into this game? Is fatigue something that you concern yourself with as you look ahead over the next few innings?
Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned with it, but I would definitely put my eyeballs on him all game to see how much he's sweating, if he's laboring, things that he's not certainly not doing yet. But I would be looking for those things. That being said, I would also want the big fella to fight through it and get me as deep as he can.
Ozuna rolled a soft single through the right side to drive in a run in the first inning. And he goes after a slider out of the strike zone, 0-2.
And I will say, because this happened to me many times, I'm sure it happened to Keith also, when you don't feel 100%, you have some of your best games. I don't know why. Maybe it's because you just simplify stuff and you don't worry too much. You just kind of work on muscle memory from your childhood.
Just inside. I mean, he's feeling better now. Just worry about. I think you worry about the residual effect of 3 days of not eating and all of that.
You know what really helps is that you have an environment here where the temperature is regulated and you're not outside and it's not humid. And
good point.
Roof is closed at Marlins Park. It's been closed for all but 7 games this season. Marlins will play their final home game tomorrow night. They wanted a stadium with a roof. They got a stadium with a roof.
I do like this ballpark. I really do.
Like it better when it's open, though.
Yep, absolutely. I did a game Sunday in Toronto with the roof open. It couldn't have been a nicer experience.
In Toronto, they don't have the fish tank behind home plate.
They have the hotel, though, in center field.
Still overlooking the field.
Still overlooking the field.
With the double curtains.
Sometimes the curtains are open, Gary.
Strike 3 called. Ozuna caught looking. 3 consecutive strikeouts for Syndergaard, 2 out of the inning. Science of Baseball brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. More science, less fear.
Arrieta, Syndergaard, and others have adopted the same motion. They face sideways to the plate, one simple step back, and they let it go. And when you see him lift his leg, it's just a very simple mechanics. And for a big fella, this is what you try to do. The simpler it is, less moving parts, better chance you have of getting your arm in the same slot every single time. That's why, I mean, he has such a great arm. He's allowed to do that because he can still throw 95 plus. I'll tell you, with an old school windup, I think Noah Syndergaard could throw the ball 105, 106 miles an hour. I'm not kidding. If he reared back, now this is the end, and the big high leg kick that was so beautiful on the cover of the New Yorker. If any of you people saw it.
In caricature.
Yes. Oh, it was brilliant. I read it on the plane.
There it is.
Who's the illustrator at URL something? Urelski or?
Wow. Syndergaard strikes out Prado, and he strikes out the side in the bottom of the third. 5 strikeouts for Syndergaard and a 4-1 Mets lead. MC Mets with 5 games to go, including tonight. Noah Syndergaard lashes one toward the middle, and that gets by Echeverria and into center field. After the last catch Echeverria made, you figured he had this one in his sights too, but not this time.
Noah has a good swing. He got struck out with breaking balls his last time up. Went after first pitch fastball.
10th hit of the season for Syndergaard. So there is the road ahead. Mets have another here in Miami tomorrow night, then 3 in Philly. The Giants start a homestand tonight against the Rockies. Cardinals got beat up by the Reds last night, 15-2, a game that Mike Matheny called an embarrassment.
He's dropped that on him a couple of times this year.
He hasn't been happy with this year's squad. They played such poor defense. Their base running has been atrocious.
A little floater to Prado. Syndergaard gets back safely. Soft liner off Reyes's bat for the first out. Well, they're just about to start in St. Louis. Adam Wainwright pitching against Robert Stevenson in the second game of that series.
It's hard to call your team an embarrassment when the pitchers get their lunch. I mean, it's when you're playing behind the 8 ball.
Maybe he was giving up the 5 hits to Steve Selski last night.
Selski rule.
I read that it was the first 5-hit game for a Reds rookie, and maybe you remember this. Wayne Rodin had 5-hit game against you guys in 1986.
Really?
Last time a Reds rookie had 5 hits in a game. Hunter Cervenka, who pitched last night, is up in the Marlins bullpen as Tom Kohler's struggles continue. Cabrera had a base hit to right field his last time up. And he pulls that one off the glove of Bourne, deflects right to Gordon, the backhand flip, and they get the force. Wow. How about that? The old 3-4-6 force play, just the way they drew it up on the chalkboard.
That was a bullet Cabrera hit, by the way.
Again. They're very fortunate.
I mean, Gordon handled that like they had planned it.
Bohr was lucky to get some leather on it, to tell you the truth. He doesn't move too well over there at first base.
No, he's just there to wield a bat. Almost backhanded this one into left field.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered because Noah's rounding second before he touched it.
Just peeling off. So 2 out, Cabrera at first, and now Cespedes, who launched one out of sight his last time up. His 31st home run of the year. Snapped an 0 for 9 with that home run.
It's one of those at bats which is like an almost automatic walk. Let's see if it happens.
Well, certainly Kohler keeping the ball away from Cespedes on that first pitch, and he's going to go away again. And the curveball in the dirt, 2-0, halfway there. By the way, the cartoonist who did the Syndergaard caricature is Mark Ulrichsen.
Sorry, Mark. My bad.
He's an incredibly talented cartoonist.
It's one of my favorite covers that I've ever seen in the New Yorker.
Cespedes holds the swing and stopped it in time, 3-0.
I always look at the cartoon on the back and want to come up with something witty, and I never can.
Never.
Why is that?
You know, I look at the ones that other people come up with, and oh, that's pretty good. Never ever. It's just not our. It's not our bailiwick.
Talentless. That's what it is.
Well, different talent.
Okay.
Cespedes swinging 3-0, and he pops one foul.
Boy, you got to hang him. Slider 3-0 right there. That one might have gone to the moon.
Or at least to the Dolphin.
Now, didn't Stanton hit an incredibly long home run here? Where was it exactly?
To the Budweiser sign.
The Budweiser sign, the 427 sign over that. Wow. In left center field.
Here's ball 4, so Ronnie's prediction came true.
Thank you.
4th walk given up by Kohler, and we'll see whether he's done now. They've got the lefty up in the bullpen. There's the Budweiser sign, well beyond that.
So 427 hit it above it off the back wall.
It was like 480, I think they said. So here comes Mattingly. He's got Cervenka ready to go. And with the left-hand hitters coming up, Granderson and Bruce, Cervenka's coming into the game. So Kohler's gone after 3 2/3. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. a couple of outs in the game last night. He's back in there tonight.
Cervenka's numbers. You know, the thing about Cervenka, when he was with the Braves, I think he threw 50 games for them. He was throwing 92, 93. His fastball's been a little off. We saw last night. Threw a lot of sliders.
Curtis Granderson has walked and struck out tonight. Mets have left 2 runners in each of the last 2 innings. They have 2 aboard here with 2 out. Cabrera and Cespedes. And Cervenka falls behind Granderson 2-0. Well, the Reds are off and running again. Joey Votto an RBI double off Adam Wainwright in the first inning. 1-0 Cincinnati leads St. Louis. Still batting in the first. And it's 3-0 to Granderson with Jay Bruce standing on deck.
Whenever I see relievers come in and they go 3-0 and a hitter, my first thought is, what were you doing in the bullpen? Like, were you throwing?
It's a strike 3-1. Last night we saw Austin Bryce come in for the Marlins and walk 2 hitters in a row.
Yeah.
And then get pulled in favor of Cervenka.
That was a case of a September call-up, I believe. Bryce, a September call-up.
Yep. 3-1 to Curtis. In the air to center field. Yelich back to the warning track at the wall to make the catch. Granderson gave it a long ride, but this ballpark, even with the fences pulled in, still the toughest park in the major leagues to hit a home run. Mets been a pair tonight, but Granderson comes up a few feet short. Stays 4-1 New York in the 4th. Noah Syndergaard back to the mound for the bottom of the 4th with a 4-1 lead. Christian Yelich leads off for the Marlins. Yelich grounded out his first time up. Syndergaard has struck out the last 4 batters he's faced. Now has 214 strikeouts for the year. That's grounded to the right side. Hot shot for Rivera. He stays with it and throws out Yelich, shedding equipment as he goes. 1 out.
That was a nice play by Rivera. That ball was hit on the nose.
Got in front of it. He's got the bright blue shoes on.
So 1 out and nobody on now. Giancarlo Stanton, who struck out on 3 pitches his first time. And he grounds one into the shift on the left side. Cabrera's there to grab it. And on just 3 pitches, Noah Syndergaard has the first 2 outs.
I love to see that. That 2-seamer that he uses, hitters put it in play, can't elevate it. And with that nice shift, it was perfect.
So now Justin Bour, who had a base hit to left field his first time up. We mentioned this this park and its lack of propensity for giving up home runs, despite the fact they have one of the greatest home run hitters in the game, although he hasn't played a full season in a number of years. Each of the seasons this park has been open, it opened in 2012, it's been among the bottom 3 in baseball for yielding home runs. Now this year they brought the fences in, they lowered some fences. That's lined toward the gap in right center, and that's down for another hit for Bour, who's now 5 for 5 in this series. How about that? Last year this was the 2nd worst park for home runs. This year it's the worst, despite the changes.
A little changeup, I think, there, Keith. That
he had to reach for. He's very strong. Very strong hitter. Yeah, there's a 407 center. They changed those dimensions out there.
Used to be 418 out there.
Right.
And they also lowered the fence. Here's Real Muto, and he pops one foul. So Justin Bour coming into this series was 0 for 17, and now he's 5 for 5 in the first 2 games. Go figure.
He loves Mets pitching. Always has.
It's 4 for 8 now against Syndergaard. Noah's now given up 5 hits tonight. Real Muto fouls off another one. That's 0-2.
A little bit of a hitch. Bour, we're looking at right there. Just very powerful hitter. Strong hands, strong wrists.
And Syndergaard walking off the mound, figured that slider had to be a strike.
It's the 2nd time he threw a pitch in that he didn't get the call from Rayburn behind the plate.
Rayburn getting some heat from the Mets dugout after that. Now the 1-2 coming, and Real Muto turning on that fastball and hitting it into the upper deck down the left field line foul. The unoccupied upper deck.
When you see a hitter do that on a ball that's inside, slider down and away.
Curveball, just as good.
Real Muto's a pesky little hitter. He's good.
Danny Echeverria would be next. Syndergaard about to throw his 60th pitch of the night with 2 out in the 4th. Right on schedule.
Seen more hitters choke up of late.
And the curveball hit to short. Cabrera goes the short way. Side retired. After 4 in Miami. 4-1 New York. Fifth inning brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers, who invite you to test drive a new Ford. You'll discover why Ford is the total package. Things are moving quickly here in Miami.
You're right, Gary. Ford is the total package. I agree with you.
Always happy to have agreement in the booth. Sometimes elusive.
Well, we tend to be contrarian sometimes, and it gets us in trouble. So
Jay Bruce leads off for the Mets in the fifth inning against Hunter Cervenka, who came in to get the final out in the fourth. Bruce hit a two-run homer into the second deck in right field. Then he hit a liner to short that Echeverria made a brilliant play on to deny him in the third. And he yanks that one foul, 0-1. This is back in the second inning.
Fastball down and in. Stayed back. Boom. There you go, Jay. That's it. Now you got it. And he hit a bullet his next at bat right at the shortstop, with Echeverria robbed him. So maybe those are signs that he's coming.
The home run for Bruce was his 31st of the year, his 6th as a Met. One of two two-run homers the Mets hit tonight against Tom Kohler, who lasted just 3 2/3. Kohler allowed 4 runs, 6 hits, 4 walks, 1 intentional, 3 strikeouts, the 2 home runs, 74 pitches. And in danger of falling to 0-3 against the Mets this season, and 2-8 for his career. Particularly galling against his hometown team. Bruce gets jammed and fouls it back. TJ Rivera on deck, then Lucas Duda for the Mets in the fifth. The Mets 4 runs and 6 hits. The Marlins 1 run and 5 hits. Efe Ogando, next man up in the Marlins bullpen. And that skips in 2-2. Hunter Cervenka, who started the year with the Braves. Been in nearly 70 games this year between Atlanta and Miami in his rookie season. And Bruce tries to hold, and he stopped it in time, 3-2.
it's funny, if you're the rookie starting pitcher, they got all kinds of worries about you. If you're a rookie reliever, leave you out there to die.
Nubbed off the end of the bat. Charging is Prado. It rolled around a little in his glove, but he throws out Bruce for the first down. So 1 out and nobody on. TJ Rivera coming up. Let's go inside baseball with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Guys, Mike Petriello of MLB.com had an interesting article out today about the Los Angeles Dodgers pitching staff. Recently, they set a major league record, 1,459 total strikeouts. Also on pace right now to set a second record. 25.2% of the batters they've faced have struck out as well. But the question really that makes it more interesting is, how do you rate that across baseball history when you compare it to the fact that we're in an era where strikeouts have never been higher? 21.1% of at-bats result in strikeouts. Certainly an impressive stat nonetheless for the Dodgers, considering what they've gone through with the injuries. 15 different starting pitchers this year. No Clayton Kershaw for a large stretch of time, but it's difficult to place that particular statistic in the history of the game with how much things have changed at this point.
That's hit hard by Rivera, and he's got his second hit of the night. So TJ's hit 3 balls hard in a row. He's now 2 for 3. Well, I think Steve makes an excellent point about placing that record in context, because frankly there are strikeout feats being created every day. Just over the weekend, the Boston Red Sox struck out 11 straight Tampa Bay Rays and struck out 23 in one game.
I mean, how many years in a row now that we just keep having a strikeout record over and over again? 9 years in a row?
9th straight year.
Jeez.
And you know, it's a problem for the game. I don't care how impressive it is for an individual pitcher. The overall game does not prosper when the number of strikeouts keeps rising.
Yeah, you have no action.
And you throw in walks, and there's no action there too.
Although walks have been pretty much coming down the last few years. It seems, you know, when you take everything into account, the number of home runs, which might be greater than in any year in history, the number of strikeouts, which will be the greatest of any year in history, what it feels like is teams adopting a particular offensive approach, an all or nothing hitting approach. Lucas Duda takes one the other way, just like he did last night. He's got an opposite field hit, and the Mets have 2 men on. He's on base for the 3rd straight time. And obviously the feeling in organizations, and I know the Mets are one of them, is that home runs are the be-all end-all, that you win with home runs. And they might be right, but I don't know if for the game as a whole the approach of hitting home runs at the expense of more and more strikeouts is good for the game. And I think that's for other people to decide.
I don't know, when you don't have any action in baseball, to me it reminds me of watching the NBA season, regular season, when you just guy dribbles the ball for 22 seconds and in the last 2 seconds throws up a 3-pointer. Not exciting to me.
Well, you haven't got a lot of speed and a lot of fast players that can steal bases. Hit and run is a thing of the past, which is always an exciting play. You've got smaller ballparks. It's like the old American League. I hate to say it. Sorry, Ronnie, but it's like the Earl Weaver baseball, you know. Base at a time and a 3-run home run.
Pitching change for the Marlins. Nefi Ogando coming in to replace Hunter Cervenka. We'll be right back to Miami. Right-hander Nefi Ogando is in for the Marlins to face Rene Rivera with 1st and 2nd and 1 out. Back-to-back hits by T.J. Rivera and Duda. And now Rene hits a double play ball to Echeverria. The turn by Gordon. Ogando throws 1 pitch, gets 2 outs, inning over. Halfway through in Miami, 4-1 New York.
know, like, as a professional athlete, we supposed to be, like, above, kind of. But like Prado said sitting here yesterday, we're not robots. We human, we got feelings, and we acted on our feelings today. That was it. We on pure feelings and pure hurt and sorrow for our brother. You know, like, I know we say that we together every day, but we really are together every single day. You see these guys more than your family. And when reality hits you with a guy younger than you, with so much promise and so much enthusiasm and so much passion, and something like this happens to him, it makes you look in the mirror.
Well, those feelings that D. Gordon felt last night etched one of the most memorable moments of the baseball season, or any season. His tribute to his teammate, batting right-handed for a pitch, and then slugging a tear-filled home run. Denny Echeverria takes a strike, and it's 1-2 as we start the bottom of the 5th inning. Echeverria had a base hit up the middle his first time up. Derek Dietrich has come out on deck to pinch hit for the Marlins. And then Gordon against Syndergaard has given up 5 hits in the first 4 innings. Runs that one inside. 2-2. Noah has not walked a batter. He's struck out 5 tonight. His first start back from a bout with strep throat. His first start in 8 days. If you missed the news earlier, Steven Matz is done for the year. Matz is going to undergo surgery on the bone spur in his elbow. His shoulder is barking. There's nothing structurally wrong with that shoulder, and it won't have to be operated on. But while the shoulder barks, they'll fix the elbow, and he's done for the year. Ground ball past the mound, but Rivera's in front of it, and throws out Echeverria, 1 away. Here's your 4th, 5th inning recap. A couple of 2-run homers by Bruce and Cespedes. Syndergaard gave up an early scratch run, but has held the Marlins down since then for a 4-1 lead. So you go back in the inventory what the Mets had when they began the season. They had a 5-man rotation that included 4 of their young guns. Only one of them's left.
Yeah.
That's Noah Syndergaard. They had a young gun in reserve in Zach Wheeler. He never threw a pitch this year. Matt Harvey underwent surgery. Jacob deGrom underwent surgery. Steven Matz is going to undergo surgery. And here are the Mets in a postseason battle down the stretch with only 2 of the 6 pieces left in their rotation.
The 20-something and the 40-something.
This is Tomas Tellez. He's pinch hitting. Tellez, a 3rd-string catcher, switch hitter. And Syndergaard misses low and away, a ball and a strike. It has truly been a phenomenal story when you think about what the Mets have had to endure with what was supposed to be the strength of their ball club. Right at Cabrera, and he handles the ground ball, and Tellez is retired 2 out.
I do have to say, I don't know if you folks feel this way, got a little tired of having every single day a story about the pitcher that he might throw on the side, he tried to throw on the side, he's going down to Port St. Lucie to get ready. I mean, I just had it up to here. I couldn't take it anymore.
You should have told us, Ron.
Here's Gordon, who's 1 for 2. Well, what it does is it puts an enormous amount on the broad shoulders of Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah.
If the Mets are going to make a postseason run, Syndergaard has to basically be Madison Bumgarner from 2014.
Exactly.
And carry this staff through the postseason.
Yes.
First get them there and then carry them through. I mean, it's been unbelievable what Robert Gsellman has done, what Seth Lugo has done, that Colon has had the year he's had at age 43. But this is the guy.
He would benefit from the exposure he had last year of coming out of the pen. So starting some games, if you needed him, you might have to get you that out in the 6th. It's going to be a lot on his shoulders, and the Mets do have the kind of lineup that could maybe scare a few teams if they're all right. 1 through 8 all right.
0-2 to Gordon, and he lines one foul. Well, tomorrow night, the final game of this series, the City Probable. Seth Lugo makes the start for the Mets. Jose Urena will pitch for the Marlins.
He had a good start here, Urena, against the Mets last time they were in town.
That ERA is not very sterling.
And Gordon fouls one off the leg of Rivera. We've gone to the bottom of the 2nd in St. Louis. Still the Reds 1 and the Cardinals nothing. Mets are seeking help from a team that they summarily undressed in 2 series this year.
Well, the famous line was uttered. I got on a plane to come watch this game.
I remember that.
Oh.
Yeah, Keith showed up for the last game in Cincinnati. Not happy.
Oh.
And the changeup strikes out Gordon to end the inning. Strikeout number 6 for Syndergaard. Through 5, 4-1 New York. Dustin McGowan, who got 1 out last night, comes back out again tonight.
Well, Dustin McGowan's always had a big arm. Starter and reliever for the Blue Jays early in his career, a high draft pick. And he's had a real good year for Don Mattingly and the Marlins.
4th pitcher of the night for the Marlins. As Noah Syndergaard leads off the 6th. Noah had a base hit to center field his last time up, 1 for 2 on the night. And he pulls that one toward the hole underneath Bohr. And Syndergaard's got his 2nd hit of the night. Hit number 9 for the Mets.
Under the glove. He got there. Oh, he overran it.
A glove too far.
That would be Arnhem.
Here's Reyes, who's 0 for 3. Struck out, grounded out, hit a soft line drive to third his last time up. So Syndergaard with 2 hits tonight, but both singles. So he's still 1 shy of that club record for extra base hits. He has 6 extra base hits, 3 doubles, 3 home runs. Seaver still has the record with 7.
Really?
That's line to center field, and that's down for a base hit. Syndergaard pulls it at second. Yelich tried to deke Syndergaard to no avail. So the Mets with back-to-back hits against McGowan to start the 6th.
Yeah, this is the time that you add on runs and let the Marlins know this game's over.
The makings of a big inning here.
Mets have left 7 runners on base over the last 4 innings. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs. His report tonight is brought to you by Affinity Health Plan. Steve?
Gary, one of the big storylines over the last month or so with the Mets has obviously been the health of Asdrubal Cabrera, how he's gutting it out and still performing at a high level. And one thing Cabrera said recently is that when he was coming up with the Indians, he used to always look at Victor Martinez, who would play through ailments constantly. And Martinez used to tell Cabrera, if you want to be a very good player to a superstar in this league, you're going to have to find a way to play through pain. It stuck with Cabrera, and you wonder how many young players on this team he impacts by doing what he's doing.
Not only continuing to play, but continuing to play at an incredibly high level. He hits this one out to left field. Ozuna coming in and gets there for the first out of the inning. Cabrera's been playing through a strained patella tendon, which dates back to spring training.
Yeah. Yes. I'll never forget. It was a routine fly ball to center field. He tagged at first base and proceeded to go to second, and that's where he hurt it in spring training. I think it was the first game he played.
Missed a few weeks because of that. Missed more time later in the season. And Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, with Cespedes already in the batter's box.
What's this all about? What's this about?
I mean, what are you going to tell him? That he's a great player?
We know.
Well, while Nieves talks to the mound, we'll head to the studio for a game break with Michelle Yu, brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Game just went to the 3rd inning. Robert Stevenson is pitching for Cincinnati tonight. Well, here's Cespedes, who hit a monstrous 2-run homer in the 3rd inning that rattled the back of the home run sculpture. His 31st of the year. Walked his last time up, 1 for 2 on the night. Syndergaard at second, Reyes at first with 1 out. And fresh off a visit from his pitching coach, McGowan fires up and in for ball 1.
It's surprising to me. I mean, that's really what are you going to say to a pitcher?
Really,
this is a heck of a player. You better make some good pitches.
Well, he probably looked at the ledger, Nieves did, and saw that Cespedes is 4 for 7 against Dustin McGowan and figured he might need a little pick-me-up. In the air to right, and Stanton is there. Syndergaard's not going to go anywhere, and that's the 2nd out. So it worked.
He said, go throw him a hanging slider. And that's what he did. And he flew out to right field.
Sometimes the best game plan is no game plan at all. So here's Granderson. They've got a lefty up in the bullpen, but they're staying with McGowan to face Granderson, who's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. Hit one a step from the fence in center field his last time up. Justin Nicolino, who the Mets saw as a starting pitcher earlier this year, now on call in that Miami bullpen. Granderson is 3 for 10 with a home run against McGowan. And takes low and in for ball 1. Tom Kohler, the starter for the Marlins, went 3 2/3, allowed 4 runs, 6 hits. Hunter Cervenka gave up 2 hits while getting 2 outs. Nefi Ogando threw one pitch and got 2 outs. The height of efficiency. And now McGowan trying to get through the 6th after back-to-back hits to lead off the inning. But he's behind Granderson 2-0. And now 3-0. Well, Curtis loves that 3-0 pitch.
Got a lefty up in the bullpen. I would give Curtis the green light since he relishes this situation.
With 2 on and 2 out. He takes it outside, ball 4. Now the bases are loaded for Jay Bruce. And perhaps we'll see the lefty now. So they didn't bring in the lefty to face Granderson. Now Bruce coming to the plate. Jay has already hit a 2-run homer tonight and a bullet line drive that he was robbed of a hit on. Checking to see that his lefty is ready. And here comes Mattingly. So the pitching change with the bases loaded and 2 out. Nicolino's coming in. We'll be right back to Miami. South Beach, always ready to go, no matter how late. Traffic never moves very fast on Ocean Drive, but you know.
I prefer Ocean Drive at the rising at dawn.
If you ever want to have a good breakfast, the News is the place to go.
Absolutely. And it's, if you go to bed and you get up at dawn and the sun comes up over the Atlantic, it's a beautiful sight.
Justin Nicolino in to face Jay Bruce with the bases loaded and 2 out, and Bruce takes a strike. 24-year-old Nicolino, a career starting pitcher, making just his 4th relief outing, and he comes in with the bases loaded. Syndergaard at third, Reyes at second, Granderson at first. Bruce already has a 2-run homer tonight. And he takes outside. A ball and a strike. Bruce's home run came in the 2nd inning. It gave the Mets the early lead. His 31st of the year. And Nicolino keeping the ball away from him with the slider, and it's 2-1.
Nope. Doesn't want to go 3-1. Good pitch to hit. He's going to keep the ball away. Or attempt to.
T.J. Rivera waiting on deck. Bruce is 1 for 3 against Nicolino, who started twice against the Mets this year, and Bruce fouls it back.
Got a pitch.
Last time the Mets faced Nicolino was right before the All-Star break in New York. He gave up 4 runs in 4 innings. Two coming to Bruce, and the breaking ball drilled foul. Got around a little too quick on that.
Broken bat too.
New equipment necessary.
Usually there's a kid out there ready with it. There he goes.
Is that a fine?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to be pocket change though. It's a young kid.
Well, a big moment of this ball game. Base hit by Bruce here, and the Mets have some breathing room. They've left a ton of runners on base in this game. All 4 runs coming on a pair of 2-run homers. Mets have 10 hits tonight, but they've left 7 runners on already and trying to avoid stranding 3 more. Two from Nicolino, and Bruce fouls it away.
He's swinging up at the plate now. He's not getting out in front. He's much better. Great strides tonight for Jay Bruce.
Seventh pitch of the at bat coming to Jay. And he takes it inside, full count. So now the merry-go-round will be in motion. Syndergaard, Reyes, Granderson, they'll all be running with 3 and 2 and 2 down. And Bruce fouls it off, and they'll do it again.
See Syndergaard coming down that line. I would really love him to be way off that line in the grass, just in case Bruce hits a seed. You want to be, 10-12 feet away from that line.
Syndergaard has spent this entire inning on the base paths through a pitching change. Ninth pitch of the at bat coming to Bruce. And Jay yanks another one foul.
Stay back, Jay. If he jams you, he jams you.
Two hits and a walk have filled the bases here. All of that against Dustin McGowan, who faced 5 batters, retired only 2 of them. Now Nicolino about to throw his 10th pitch to Jay Bruce. And another foul ball.
Got a little help there. That was ball 4.
Is he running that sinker down and in on him?
That's the. He didn't mean to. The catcher set up away.
Okay.
They get set to run again. And Bruce gets it in the air to left. Easy for Ozuna. And Nicolino wins the battle, and the Mets strand 3. That's 10 runners left on base in the first 6 innings for the Mets. They lead it 4-1 in the 6th. Mets-Marlins game, plus all the latest from the Jets and Giants as they get ready for Week 4 on Loudmouth, presented by Cheapo Air tomorrow at 5:30, only on SNY. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Mets have squandered several opportunities to expand their lead. Noah Syndergaard still with a 4-1 edge as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Marcell Ozuna, Martin Prado, and Christian Yelich due up. Ozuna drove in the Marlins run with a soft single to right in the 1st inning. Syndergaard's given up only 3 hits since. And he misses inside with a curveball for ball 1. Well, the Reds have added a run in the top of the 3rd and lead the Cardinals 2-0. All working in the Mets' favor. And Ozuna takes a fastball for a strike.
What did St. Louis score? 2 runs last night?
15-2 there.
Yeah, so the offense has dried up a little bit for them.
And Wainwright, who's had a decidedly up and down year, having a rough night so far tonight.
Their shortstop Aledmus Diaz left the team for a couple days to be here because he was so close to the family.
Now he's back tonight, and in fact brought a Fernandez jersey with him to tape up in the Cardinal dugout. It's a bad swing on a slider, and it's 2-2. In fact, Diaz and Fernandez grew up down the block from each other on the same street in Cuba.
You probably saw that picture, didn't you, of them in their little league days? Beautiful picture. Such innocence.
2-2 to Ozuna with Prado on deck. In the air, center field. Back goes Granderson to the warning track. At the wall, he makes the catch. Curtis Granderson tracking that beautifully and catching it right up against the green fence for a long first out.
Well, there are certain ballparks when you fall behind, Ronnie, you can just run it up there and say, here, try to hit it out. Keep it in the deepest part of the park.
Just hit it 406.
Ken Holtzman did that to me in a wind blowing in from center field. You see the reaction from Syndergaard there. I had a 2-0 count on Holtzman, who was just tough. Wind was blowing directly in, not foul pole to foul pole. He just laid it down the middle. I hit a bullet bomb up the center fielder, caught it in short center field. The wind blew it back in.
Made a right turn.
Yes, I did.
The joy and heartache of Wrigley Field.
Yes.
Cabrera in front of it, bobbles it, recovers, safe. A rare miscue by his dribble Cabrera, and Prado is aboard.
Only the 7th error of the season for Asdrubal.
I mean, normally anything he gets his hands on is solid, but not that time.
Ball came up a little bit.
I thought you hit him in the meat hand.
Yeah, he got his other hand on top of it.
Yeah, he got his hand in there too quick.
You know, the infields are so terrific today, and it's very rare you get a bad hop.
So the error on Cabrera gives the Marlins an opening with their best hitters coming up. Yelich and Stanton. Yelich is 0 for 2, grounded out twice. Prado at first and 1 out. And Syndergaard misses with a changeup.
Well, these are the issues with this game. The Mets have, what'd you say, Gary, left 10 on?
Yep.
They're 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, so they've let the Marlins hang around.
That's going to get the bullpen cranking now. And I think that's very much in deference to the fact that Syndergaard is coming back from the strep throat, that at 85 pitches the Mets see fit to get the bullpen ready. Fernando Salas, Jerry Blevins just starting to work.
And you would never get the bullpen ready if Struble had made the play on the simple grounder.
I want 7 innings out of Syndergaard.
Maybe hard to get tonight. One and 1 to Yelich, and that misses in off the plate. 2-1.
I really think with the 87 pitches now, Gary, that this is the bullpen's just up just in case he's hit a wall. Terry's ready to make a move, but If he gets out of this inning, run his fanny back out there for the 7th.
Here's a call strike. Gets the slider in 2-2.
I think this really is a result of last night not having someone ready early enough. You got a lot of people in that bullpen. No reason not to get them at least lukewarm.
By the way, I asked Terry about last night when he did not hit for Cologne in the top of the 3rd. He said if the Mets had had a man on, they would have. They were prepared to, but he just figured he'd see if Cologne could get it going. And Yelich strikes out of a high fastball for the 2nd out. It's 7 strikeouts for Syndergaard. A big out in this game.
That'll ease your manager's mind right there. Air behind you. Okay, I'll take care of it. I'll pick you up.
Yelich has a lot of room for improvement, Keith, in that area as far as the strikeouts are concerned.
137 strikeouts for Yelich and 137 strikeouts for Stanton in far fewer at bats. Stanton 0 for 2 has struck out and grounded out against Syndergaard tonight. 0 for 7 now against Noah in his career. And a knee-high strike with a slider.
Syndergaard is fine.
And a fastball on the corner, and Syndergaard gets ahead 0-2.
You know, I will say it. I don't usually say this very much. For a guy who throws this hard, he's a pretty easy catch, Syndergaard. The numbers are put down by Rivera, and he usually hits the spot.
Historically good control for a strikeout pitcher this young. 0-2 coming. Up and in. That made Stanton think. 1-2.
That was over the plate. It's called diving. That wasn't even close.
Up and in, slider down and away.
1-2. And he lays off 2-2. Justin Bour, whom the Mets have yet to retire in this series, is standing on deck. Prado at first and 2 out. 2-2 to Stanton. Struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Syndergaard after the Cabrera error. Talk about picking up your teammate. Syndergaard fans Yelich and then takes care of Stanton after 6. 4-1 New York. the dugout after that last half inning. It became clear that his night is over.
No.
93 pitches for Noah.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I didn't see the coaches.
Nope. Nope. Maybe not. Maybe we jumped the gun in between here. Maybe he's getting the high. He struck out 2 guys after that error.
I forget. Sometimes you get the high fives from all the players.
They got the handshake from the manager, so that means the plug has been pulled. And
kiss of death.
You know, after the bout with strep throat, it was probably to be expected the Mets would go short with Syndergaard tonight. 93 pitches and out. The good news is the Mets have their best relievers fully rested. Reed and Familia both have not pitched in the last 4 days.
And you got to get 9 outs in a 3-run game.
This would be a lot easier if the Mets had not left 10 runners on base in the first 6 innings. T.J. Rivera's had another terrific night with the bat. 2 for 3, a single and a triple, and the one time he was retired was on a leaping grab of a line drive by Prado. Lucas Duda on deck, and then Rene Rivera. Pitcher spot due up 4th in this inning against Justin Nicolino, and a roller down to 3rd, and Prado makes the throw on target. 1 away. So 1 out now. Duda, who's been on base 3 times in a row with 2 walks and an opposite field hit. There's your GMC Mets box score. 10 hits tonight, 2 2-run homers accounting for all 4 runs, but plenty of other chances for the Mets that they have left on the table. And Duda takes a knee-high strike, 0-1. Huge series starting tonight in Toronto. The top 2 teams in the American League wildcard race, the Blue Jays and the Orioles, going head-to-head. They're in the bottom of the 7th, and the Blue Jays lead 5-1. That is important not only for those 2 teams, but for the teams that are chasing. Because if Toronto sweeps that series, it leaves an opening for the Tigers and/or the Mariners to make headway. They both started the day 2 games behind the Orioles. The Tigers have a 6-0 lead on Cleveland the night after the Indians clinched the American League Central. So they're pointed in the right direction tonight, and could be a game out when the evening ends. 2-1 to Duda. And the Mariners, a team that I think everybody's been asleep on. They lead Houston 4-2 in the 4th. They've been getting great pitching every day, and they have as good a 3, 4, and 5 combination in their batting order as anybody in the game, with Robinson Cano and Nelson Cruz and Kyle Seager. Duda hits one off the back of the mound. Echeverria, actually that's Prado there to play it. Third baseman playing on the right side for the 2nd out. So Toronto on top. I mean, the bottom 3 teams there are technically still in contention, but basically out of it. But Detroit and Seattle are right there, and a chance for each to be a game behind when the night's over.
So they're all rooting for Toronto to bury Baltimore.
Yep. And of course, the Blue Jays still have only the slimmest of chances to catch the Red Sox. The magic number is 1 for Boston to clinch the American League East.
Red Sox just went up, but I think the game's tied now in New York.
Yeah, 4-4 in the 7th last I looked. So here's Rivera with 2 out and nobody on. Rene is 1 for 3. Eric Campbell is out on deck to pinch hit for Syndergaard if Rivera keeps the inning going. Fernando Salas looks like he'll be coming on in the bottom of the inning. And Rivera shoots one down the right field line. Foul.
Rene's done a nice job, hasn't he, this year? It's probably his most productive year since he was a Padres kind of backup when he had 11 home runs.
He's kind of the one of the unsung heroes of this team, and his contributions go beyond the offense. I mean, he's really terrific with these pitchers.
Well, he was not even in the organization when the year began. Mets picked him up the first week of the season, and he's making his 52nd start, which I don't think anybody envisioned.
Mets have been pretty good the times we've been here. Their backup catchers have been very solid.
Final game of this series tomorrow night. Seth Lugo pitches for the Mets. Our coverage begins tomorrow night at 6 o'clock right here on SNY. Mets are then off Thursday and begin their series in Philadelphia Friday. Don't forget, if you're planning a trip to Philly, that Saturday game is now a 1 o'clock start. Not on our air.
And
Rivera strikes out to end the inning.
We're very sorry to tell you we will not be broadcasting that game.
Not our choice.
You're stuck.
Stretch time in Miami. 4-1 New York.
The Mets now an out away from the playoffs.
How about a celebration last night here at Shea Stadium by the Braves, and possibly a celebration again tonight, this time by the Mets.
The 1-2 to Lockhart. And the Mets are going back to the playoffs.
This date in Mets history presented by Budweiser. The Mets clinching a postseason berth in 2000, basically doing that year what the Mets are trying to do this year. They had been to the postseason in 1999. It was the first time in Mets history they'd gone back-to-back years, and trying to do it now for a second time. Fernandez Salas pitching to Justin Bour, who fouls one at the plate.
Was that Howie and Mr. Confidence on the call there?
Can of corn.
Francis Xavier.
Justin Bour 2 for 2 tonight, 5 for 5 in this series. Facing Salas, who hasn't pitched since Saturday night. Bour with a half swing, and he stopped it in time. 1-2. Jerry Blevins staying busy in the Mets bullpen. Probably getting ready for Ichiro Suzuki, who might pinch hit down the line. And he got him with a high fastball. Salas strikes out Bour, who's retired for the first time in this series.
Just climbed the ladder with him.
Up the ladder. You got it.
So 1 out and nobody on that. JT Realmuto. In St. Louis, Matt Carpenter hit a home run in the bottom of the 3rd. It's now Cincinnati 2, St. Louis 1 as they go to the 4th. The other game of note, the Giants and the Rockies in San Francisco, still about 45 minutes from starting. Past the mound, but Rivera's playing right behind the bag and throws out Realmuto by a stride, 2 out. So 2 up and 2 set aside by Salas. People's United Bank brings you tonight's starters. Noah Syndergaard coming back from a strep throat. Limited to 6 innings tonight, but pitched extremely well. Gave up a scratch run in the 1st inning and nothing else. 1 run, 5 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Mets knocked out Tom Kohler in the 4th. And here's Ichiro batting for Echeverria. And with 2 out and nobody on, Salas will stay on to face him.
Odd move.
Yeah, I'll say.
Right?
Yeah.
Take away your defense. Echeverria's got a hit in the ball game.
I can see if runners are on base.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Ichiro had a base hit last night, number 3,029 in his Hall of Fame caliber career. He flies this one toward the left field line. Long run for Cespedes. He backhands it right on the line. He caught it in fair territory to retire the side. Quite a play by Cespedes, going far to his right and making the backhand grab to polish off a 1-2-3 inning. Like it were nothing. Yeah, he robbed him. He did. Mets tiebreaker game at Citi Field go on sale this Thursday, September 29th at 2 p.m. If the Mets finish tied in the standings, they could play at Citi Field Monday, October 3rd or Tuesday, October 4th. The tiebreaker game would be played for the right to advance to the wild card round. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Miguel Rojas comes in to play shortstop. Ty Kelly announces a pinch hitter for the Mets, and so Don Mattingly is going to make a pitching change and take Justin Nicolino out of the game. Our least favorite rule in Major League Baseball.
He's a switch hitter.
Second time they've done that this week. Trivia question tonight. The 4 players with 20 or more home runs for the Mets in 2000. Think about that as Ty Kelly turns around about left-handed, facing Austin Bryce, who came in last night and walked 2 batters and then left.
September baseball, also known as reliever carousel.
He's the 6th Miami pitcher of the night. Kelly last night was announced as a pinch hitter, and when they brought in the right-hander, Kelly Johnson batted for Ty Kelly, the first Kelly squared pinch hitting duo maybe ever. 2 balls and a strike. So Justin Nicolino faced 4 batters, retired them all. But of the specter of Ty Kelly, he was removed in favor of Bryce, and Kelly fouls it off 2-2. So we have more 20 home run hitters for your list. Addison Reed getting ready to pitch the bottom of the 8th. Matt Carpenter 20, D.D. Gregorius 20. How many you got now?
108.
And how many were there last year?
64. And as shortstop, how about this one for you? First double play combination.
That's lined to center field by Kelly, and that's going to drop for a base hit. So Ty Kelly with a pinch hit single to get the Mets started in the 8th.
First double play combination for the Yankees to hit 20 home runs each.
Ever?
Ever.
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 So ever.
Ever.
We're getting silly.
I'm thinking that Soriano, Jeter never hit 20 the same year Soriano did.
Just, yeah, same year deal.
Horace Clark and no.
Horace Clark.
Jerry Coleman and Phil Rizzuto. No.
Randy Velarde, no.
Reyes is 1 for 4 tonight and takes a strike. Well, just shows you how the game has changed. Used to be no middle infielders at 20 home runs, and this year scads of them. Kelly at first and nobody out as Drupal Cabrera on deck. Prado pinched in at third as Reyes takes one wide, a ball and a strike. Reyes smacks one to right center over in the gap. Stanton won't get there. It's going to go by him. He backhands it. To third goes Kelly. He'll be held up there. Reyes has to stop at second. He had triple on his mind. But with Kelly stopping, he settles for a double, and the Mets have second and third and nobody out. And hopefully Reyes didn't hurt himself trying to pull up short. Terry Collins is going to come out and have a look. Reyes had triple on his mind. I think he figured that Kelly was going to be sent, but when Kelly stopped, he had to stop.
I think Reyes was looking at the right fielder and realized when it was cut off. Now watch, he takes his eye off the ball right here.
He slipped a little when he stopped and then grabbed at that left leg, but he appears to be okay. Ray Ramirez, the trainer, was out along with Terry Collins to make sure he was all right.
Yeah, he's rubbing his ankle like maybe he rolled it over a little bit.
Foot just came out.
Well, see, but his left ankle behind that, see it roll over. Watch the left ankle, folks. Right there.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, the Mets with yet another chance to add to their lead. Second and third and nobody out as Drupal Cabrera, the batter, with the infield in. Cabrera 1 for 4 tonight, and he takes the breaking ball inside. So last night Bryce came in and walked the only 2 batters he faced. Yeah. Tonight he's come in and given up back-to-back hits to Kelly and Reyes.
Cabrera getting out of the way of that breaking ball in kind of felt a little pain.
Flexing that left knee. which has been a season-long concern. That's now with a dozen hits on the night. Fouled at the plate, and it's 1-1. Kelly at third, Reyes at second with nobody out. And Cabrera rolls over one foul. 1-2. Struble at one point this season had a stretch where he went 0 for 32 with runners in scoring position. Since then, 13 for 28, 464 with runners in scoring position. And he yanks one right to Gore, who makes the grab for the first down. So Cabrera one hard out. Runner still at second and third. Let's check in with the studio. Michelle Yu has another game break brought to you by the New York State Smokers Quit Line. Here's Yoenis Cespedes. See if the Marlins walk him intentionally, and they will do exactly that. Cespedes, who had a 2-run homer back in the third, with first base open, even with a left-hand hitter coming up. They'll walk him, and they've got a lefty ready in the bullpen for Curtis Granderson and Jay Bruce. This will be the second intentional walk of the night handed out by the Marlins.
So how do you feel if you're the right-hander running?
Oh man.
Mike Dunn getting ready to face Granderson, who's on deck.
Start studying for my real estate license this winter.
You know, I'm thinking that if Don Mattingly and the other managers in September all wore Fitbits, they'd break the thing with all the steps they're taking out to the mound.
There you go.
There's ball 4, and the bases are loaded up, and here comes Mattingly.
Now, at least Don does one thing I like. When he comes, he's not 2 steps on the field. He makes the call for the pitcher. So we get him here quick.
Well, he used 9 pitchers last night. He's going for his 7th tonight. We'll be right back to Miami.
Well, you got a low bar, don't you?
in September baseball. This gives you a little bit of an idea. The Mets from April through August averaged 2 hours and 59 minutes. In September, an average 14 minutes more per game. And it seems as though this September is worse than ever before in terms of the number of pitching changes and the delays in play.
Yeah, I said it before. It used to be every team brought up 5 or 6 players. Every team in baseball seems to bring up 35 now.
Curtis Granderson faces Mike Dunn with the bases loaded, and he takes a strike. Dunn worked a 1-2-3 4th inning last night. In here in the 8th inning tonight. That's with their umpteenth opportunity to break this game open. Kelly at third, Reyes at second, Cespedes at first and 1 out. Granderson 0 for 2 with a pair of walks tonight. And Curtis lifts one foul. You heard Ronnie mention earlier that the Cardinals shortstop Yoenis Diaz was a great friend of Jose Fernandez. Left the Cardinals for a day. Back with them tonight. Yoenis Diaz just hit a grand slam in the bottom of the 4th inning to put the Cardinals in front of the Reds 5-2.
Wow. A little divine intervention again.
What a week.
Granderson lines one toward the middle, base hit. Kelly is in, Reyes right behind, and he'll score. Curtis Granderson with a 2-run single to put the Mets up 6-1 in the 8th. There's the big hit the Mets have been looking for.
Curtis 23 RBIs in his last 25 games.
Flat slider. No downward tilt. Makes it much easier to track. Reyes looks fine on the ankle. Nice going, Curtis.
So now Jay Bruce is 1 for 4. 2-run homer back in the 2nd, and he rolls over one foul.
Breaking ball to Granderson. Not on top enough. It's flat. You can extend your hands. You can stay in. It's a nice pitch to hit.
Curtis does not want to go in the book with Rob Deere and Felix Mantilla.
That's right.
Gave you that number earlier about the fewest RBIs ever for a 30 home run hitter. Curtis edging his way away from that.
That's drilled into right field by Bruce, a base hit. Late start for Cespedes. He'll go to third and stop there as Stanton heaves it in. So Jay Bruce with another hard hit ball, his 2nd hit of the night, and the Mets reload the bases. And Dunn has given up back-to-back base hits to the left-hand batters.
I just gave Bruce an RBI. I
can't understand why Cespedes just had a poor read, not knowing where the right fielder is. No chance. No chance. That's a poor read.
So now the base is loaded up again. T.J. Rivera coming up. We're going to get a pinch runner. Juan Lagares will run for Jay Bruce and then stay in for defense. So a big night for Bruce.
Yes.
So all of a sudden looks like the Jay Bruce the Mets acquired 2 months ago. 6 for 15 over the last 4 games. A couple of home runs. More importantly, hitting the ball hard on a regular basis. So Lagares runs for him. And now Rivera bats with the bases loaded and 1 out. TJ has 2 hits tonight, a single and a triple. And he fouls back the high fastball, 0-1. Both the runs in this inning charged to Austin Bryce. He's also responsible for Cespedes.
So this game where managers love to play the matchups, 2 bullets off done by 2 left-handed hitters.
And all started off the bench with a pinch hit single by Ty Kelly, who's done a heck of a job off the bench.
Despaigne up in the bullpen for the Marlins. He was up much earlier in the game. 0-2 to Rivera with Lucas Duda on deck. Mets now with 14 hits on the night. And Rivera goes down swinging on the high fastball. Not a good at bat there for TJ. That's the second out. And that'll leave it to Duda with 2 down. Lucas has been on base 3 times with 2 walks and a single, 1 for 2.
Well, Jay Bruce in the nick of time starting to hit a little bit. Lucas Duda, who you didn't think you were going to have at all, now getting some more playing time and providing some hits and walks.
And he takes a borderline strike, 0-1. Coming up tonight after the postgame show, Geico Sports Night will keep you up to date on what the Cardinals and Giants are doing as they compete with the Mets for these 2 wild card spots. All the football and some basketball news as well. Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame. Ball and strike to Lucas Duda. Duda, the 8th man up in the inning. Rene Rivera on deck. Mets have scored twice here in the 8th to open up a 5-run lead. Addison Reed continues to throw in the Mets bullpen. Eric Langhill, the bullpen catcher, shrouded in neon. 2-1.
That looked psychedelic.
He looks like he's defying the limits right there. That's Eric defying limits.
Hopefully his shoes are swooshed.
Two and 2 to Duda. Well, if you're wondering why Addison Reed is still throwing, neither Reed nor Familia has pitched in a game in 4 days. So at some point you got to get him in, even if the score is a little more lopsided than you'd like, to avoid them being rusty when you finally call them.
I don't know. Nothing feels lopsided to me when you need to win every day.
2-2 coming, and Duda fouls it off.
You know, if Mike Dunn gets through this inning, you will have 5 pitchers for the Marlins that didn't record 3 outs, less than 3 outs.
You're right.
Oh, man.
Joey Votto just homered for the Reds. It's now Cardinals 5, Reds 3 as they play in the 5th.
What a second half for Votto.
2-2 coming, and Duda cracks one to right. Stanton going back. It's over his head. It'll go to the wall. Cespedes is in. Granderson is in. Lagares scores. A bases clearing double for Lucas Duda. Now it's lopsided. 9-1 New York. Lucas Duda back with a vengeance.
He has surprised me, missing all the season just about. But he has turned it on. That's outstanding off the left-hander right there. That's a bullet. On the backside, Lagares down. Mattingly's going to flip-flop. And a 9-1 game.
Well, the Mets waited all day to break this game open, but here in the 8th they've done exactly that, scoring 5 runs to build a 9-1 lead. Lucas Duda with the big hit to open up an 8-run lead. We'll be right back to Miami. Perez comes in to play shortstop. He'll bat ninth. Odrisamer Despaigne, the former Padre, comes in to pitch.
He was a reliever and started with them, and the bullpen here for the Marlins.
Mets have scored 5 times in the 8th inning to break this game open. Duda at second and 2 out. Rene Rivera, the 9th man to bat in the inning. Rivera's 1 for 4 today. Ty Kelly, who began this inning with a pinch hit single, is back out on deck. Mets now with 9 runs and 15 hits. Despaigne, the 8th Marlins pitcher of the night, and he throws the breaking ball outside. Mets saw Despaigne as a starter with San Diego last year. Actually 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
First came up.
He threw a nice game against them. He's had an assortment of 4 or 5 different pitches, different breaking balls.
Yeah,
not a hard thrower.
I remember that.
Yep.
29-year-old from Cuba throws a cutter and gets a strike, and it's 1-1. Austin Bryce started this inning, gave up 2 hits and an intentional walk, so he's been charged with 3 runs. Mike Dunn faced 4 batters, gave up 3 hits. He's been charged with 2 runs. Ground ball hit to third. Prado comes in to get it and throws out Rivera to end the inning, but 9 men came to bat for the Mets in the top of the 8th. Still defying limits. Mets leading at 9-1. Changes coming fast and furious. Mets with a 9-1 lead. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Guys, how about this gesture by the New York Mets? Didn't realize I was on camera there, but how you doing? A couple innings ago, Jay Bruce hit a foul ball that hit off of a young Mets fan's arm in the stands. Shortly thereafter, Neil Walker he got that baseball from the young boy who was crying there and walked around the dugout, got a bunch of the Mets to sign the baseball for him. They also gave the fan and his father, you assume it's his father, a baseball bat. So pretty sure that injury didn't hurt all that much after the Mets gave him those things. Nice gesture.
That's called taking one for the family right there.
Well, just a small hint. If you're going to sit in the front row and you're the dad, you can't get out of the way when the ball comes. You got to catch the ball when the ball comes. But he looks none the worse for wear.
Addison Reed pitching for the first time in 5 days. Gets ahead on Jeffrey Perez 0-2. So Reed better rested. He had been pretty beaten up by heavy work over a 6-month span, and the Mets need a well-rested and a 100% Reed and Familia to make any kind of run. Alejandro De Aza comes into play left field, while Nagares, who pinch ran, stays in the game in center field. And Perez shoots one through the left side, of base hit, his first major league hit. Only his second major league at bat. He had been used almost exclusively as a pinch runner since his call up, and now he's got his first hit. Send that one down for safekeeping.
Lucas said congratulations to the youngster. Nice.
Now here's the problem for Perez. His basic tool is speed, but you can't run because they're down 9-1 in the 8th inning. Here's D. Gordon, who knows all about speed. He had a bunt single, stole a base, and scored the only Miami run in the first inning. Marlins led 1-0, but then in the second, Jay Bruce hit a 2-run homer. In the third, Yoenis Cespedes hit a 2-run homer, and the Mets have been home free ever since. 5 runs in the 8th inning, putting this game on ice. Now Reed behind 2-0 with Marcell Ozuna on deck. Double play ball. Cabrera takes it to the bag. A 6-6-3 double play. 2 men down.
Boy, that's a beautiful thing. You know, the only thing I was thinking about is, you know, here's Reed in here to get some work. Beautiful glove work there by Cabrera. And you got to, you know, worry a little bit about how many pitches he throws because you might need him tomorrow. But that helps a lot.
By the way, if you're wondering, that's the 4th double play that Gordon has grounded into this year. There aren't going to be many over the course of a season with D. Gordon running out of the left-hand batter's box. Marcell Ozuna takes a strike. So yeah, the key is to get Reed work without overworking him, and that double play certainly helps. Ozuna 1 for 3 on the night, hit one to the fence and center that Granderson caught his last time. Only Verizon makes Tuesday Night Baseball better by rewarding their customers with exclusive ballpark access and experiences. The better network, Verizon, better matters. 1-2 to Ozuna.
Well, Ozuna seemed like in the first half that he had kind of figured it out and that he was going to be well on his way. And the second half has been kind of a slog for him.
It's one out to right. Granderson chasing over, and that retires the side. A leadoff hit, a double play, nobody left. On to the 9th we go. 9-1 New York. leave messages on the memorial tribute outside Marlins Park for Jose Fernandez. Fernandez is going to be laid to rest on Thursday. It's going to be a private funeral just for family, the Marlins players, coaches, and front office personnel. But the public is going to have a chance to pay their respects. There's going to be a public viewing tomorrow at St. Brendan's Catholic Church in Miami between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. as Alejandro De Aza fouls off the first pitch in the ninth. And what they're also going to do is there's going to be a funeral motorcade that leaves Marlins Park at 2:16 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. The 16 obviously in reference to Fernandez's number. And the fans are going to be invited to gather on the West Plaza here in Marlins Park to watch the funeral motorcade and leave the ballpark. De Aza breaks his bat and dumps one into right field for a base hit. The Mets' 16th hit of the night. That's 4 hits from the number 9 spot in the batting order for the Mets tonight.
Off-speed pitch out in front, stays back. Nice hitting.
So now Jose Reyes, who has 2 hits tonight, his last 2 times up, a single and a double. So the Mets, who scored 44 runs in a 4-game series against the Phillies over the weekend, which was the most runs the Mets had ever scored in a home series, back on their heels last night on a rather unusual night, and right back to pounding the baseball again tonight. 9 runs and 16 hits. Reyes takes one the other way toward the left field line. Ozuna reaching down, and he trapped it. Reyes takes a wide turnaround first. De Aza had stopped at second, so Reyes has his 3rd hit of the night. Nice effort by Ozuna to get to the ball, but he didn't slide, didn't dive, and wound up trapping it.
Well, they can pour it on now.
So 3 hits for Reyes, 17 hits for the Mets, and it's nice to see Reyes running free and easy after that little scare in the last inning when he rounded second base and came to an awkward stop. Here's Cabrera, who's 1 for 5 today. The pitcher is hitting in the 3rd hole on deck. And so Michael Conforto is out on deck to pinch hit. So the Mets got exactly what they wanted from Addison Reed. A little sharpener after 4 days off, 11 pitches. And will they do the same with Familia?
Well, he's up throwing.
So apparently so. Familia, who likewise has not pitched the last 4 days. Looks like he'll get the bottom of the 9th. Popped up behind 3rd. Prado near the railing and runs out of room. Dietrich, excuse me, now playing 3rd base. So we mentioned the Cleveland Indians clinched the American League Central last night. The Indians, who were so dominant with their starting pitching most of the year, but like the Mets, that starting pitching has dissolved.
That's right. Carrasco broke his hand. Salazar is nursing an arm injury, and now the latest, Kluber had to leave a game because he's got quadricep tightness.
Mild strain of the right quad. So how big a deal was that?
That's huge. I mean, they really have a good team, and they were my dark horse if they had their pitchers to really surprise someone in the postseason. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it without those starters, because their bullpen is lights out.
That's drilled to right field, a base hit for Cabrera. De Aza will be held at 3rd as Hood fires in on 1 hop. Destin Hood now playing right field. They brought in Hood to play right, Xavier Scruggs at first, and Derek Dietrich at third in this half inning. So 3 straight hits for the Mets against Espana to open the 9th. And now Michael Conforto will pinch hit.
No one warming up in the bullpen for the Marlins, so this
that's right.
Better get somebody out, Slugger.
The old Davy Johnson line. You got to find some way to get out of this one, son.
So now Conforto. And that's popped foul back around the plate. How many bases loaded at bats have the Mets had the last few days?
Yeah, tons.
I mean, Sunday, Jose Reyes had 4 straight bases loaded plate appearances, which is mind-boggling.
Lagares is in the hole, is the on-deck circle. He cannot hit. Got Granderson in the on-deck circle. Lagares is in the hole. Do they still call it the hole?
Yes, but he can bunt.
Saw that with Gazelman.
Right. He got a hit.
How did that happen anyway? I didn't see that.
Well, Ryan Howard was playing back on the outfield grass. They didn't get the scouting report. It was crazy.
These guys graduate from MIT, all these guys. What are they doing?
Grounded toward the hole, smothered by Scruggs, gets it out at second, and no relay as a run comes home. Nice play by Scruggs. As De Aza comes in to score to make it 10-1.
That was a good play by Scruggs.
Well, once he dove, he's not going to get up in time to get the lead runner. De Aza runs too well, get the lead runner in the other direction. Wasn't the lead runner, but at least get another guy out of scoring position.
So now 1st and 3rd and 1 out, and here's Granderson, who had the 2-run single in the 8th that helped break this game open. He's also walked twice tonight, 1 for 3. Well, Johnny Peralta just hit a home run for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 5th, and they now lead the Reds 8-3 as they go to the 6th. So after a couple of early runs by the Reds, looks like the Mets won't get any help there tonight. Giants and Rockies just about to start in San Francisco. And the curveball on the corner from Despaigne, and it's 1-1. Reyes at third, Conforto at first with 1 out. Mets now with 18 hits on the night. Changeup misses away, 2-1. Despaigne, the 8th Marlins pitcher of the night. They used 9 last night. Mets in that last series against the Phillies had a 2-game span where they used 17 pitchers. That's driven to center field deep. Back goes Yelich near the wall, and it's off the base of the wall. Reyes is in. Conforto goes to third. Granderson with a booming RBI double, his 3rd run batted into the night to make it 11-1 New York.
Boy, oh boy, this guy's throwing up big watermelons.
Uncle.
Crushed. Good for Curtis. 3 RBI day.
Gives him 59 for the year.
And Lagares, what is Juan going to do, Gary?
He's going to bunt. He's been taking some batting practice, taking some swings in the cage. I don't think that he's been cleared to fully swing the bat yet.
He's taking practice swings.
Well, can't let the Marlins know.
Had a little fun with Juan this morning. He and I were comparing wounds. He had the same operation I had on my thumb.
Let me ask you this, though, from a competitive standpoint, when you're up 11-1, if you bunt,
I know,
do you get somebody upset?
Yeah, or just go up there and take
3 pitches. Yeah, that's what I would do.
That's taking one for the team. You're asking me to strike out.
Yeah,
crying out loud.
2nd and 3rd and 1 out, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Garris, of course, had surgery on that left thumb. It was here in Miami that he hurt it, diving for a ball hit by Ichiro Suzuki, and jammed that glove hand into the ground and suffered the torn ligament. Played through it for a while, Well, then it was just too much, and he had to have the surgery. And he does swing, and he flies one out to right. That'll get a run in. And Hood back on the warning track to get it. Tagging at third is Conforto. He comes in to score. So Lagares, his first swing in a long time, produces a long fly ball to get in the 12th man run. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on WB Mason Post-Game Live. Gary Apple, Nelson Figueroa, guys. Shock in the Mets dugout. You could swing? He did swing.
Love it. And hit it on the warning track. Almost hit it out of here.
Well, you know, that's really interesting because as the Mets start to think about their postseason roster, if Juan Lagares can swing the bat, might be a spot for him on that roster.
Like to see it.
TJ Rivera has 2 hits tonight, and he rolls one toward third. Charging is Dietrich. The off-balance throw dug out nicely by Scruggs, and they get the out to end the inning. But the Mets tack on 3 in the top of the 9th. 3 outs to get. Mets up 12-1. Piazza, Ventura, Alfonso, Zeal.
Late trivia.
There you go.
Look at you.
Not interested.
You're so dismissive, Keith.
No.
Maurice Familia, who hasn't pitched through the last 4 days, will get an inning of work here.
Are you interested in this? Why don't you take the relief pitcher?
There he is. Jay Reese just getting some work here. 29 walks. Ronnie, what do you think about that in 73 and 2/3?
It's outstanding, but I just can't do any more relief pitchers. I just can't do it.
Well, hey,
there's been a gentle sufficiency tonight. Here's Derek Dietrich, his first at bat of the game. Came in to play third base in the last inning. So Reed worked an inning in the 8th through just 11 pitches. Mets would love the same here in the 9th from Familia.
Oh.
So a night after the Marlins played an inspirational game, winning for their fallen mate, it's been all Mets tonight.
Well, you said it, Keith, in the open that you thought it would find it very hard that the Marlins could come up with an effort tonight. Just drained from all of yesterday's actions.
No doubt, Ron.
Yeah.
Familia behind on Dietrich 3-0.
I think everybody's ready to go home and take a snooze.
Well, tomorrow is the Marlins' final home game, and then they will attend Jose Fernandez's funeral on Thursday before they head to Washington for their final series of the year. So there's more emotional tumult to come for this team. You know, we think of last night as part of the healing process, but it's important to remember it's just the beginning for these guys.
Absolutely. I mean, it's in a strange way.
There's a walk to Dietrich to start the inning.
And they're not mathematically out of it. But in a strange way, you know, they'll be able to go home and kind of deal with it on their own. And the next time it's going to really hit home is when they go to Jupiter.
Right. There's Yelich, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight, 2 groundouts and a strikeout. Rockies and Giants are underway. Colorado did not score in the top of the first against Matt Moore, and the Giants now batting in the bottom. Meanwhile, the Reds are trying to come back again. Scott Schebler with a home run.
Cardinals pitching.
It's now Cardinals 8, Reds 5, and they're only in the top of the 6th, so that's not over yet.
Waino still in there, Uncle Charlie?
If he is, he can't be there for long. Right? Wainwright is still in there. He's given up all 5 runs. And Familia pitching for the first time in 5 days, struggling with his control. Ball and a strike to Yelich. Destin Hood is on deck. He took Stanton's spot in the batting order. And Yelich hits a comebacker. Familia will settle for the out at first. That's the first out of the inning as Dietrich goes to second. And now Hood, who appeared as a pinch hitter in the game yesterday and struck out. 3 for 15 thus far since his call up. Well, the Mets will have Seth Lugo on the mound tomorrow night for the final game of the series. Lugo started that game where the Mets came back in the 9th and the 11th in dramatic fashion against the Phillies. He went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs, 4 hits, gave up back-to-back homers to Howard and Rupp. It was not his best outing of the year.
Mets won on the 2-run home run to tie it by Reyes in the 9th, and then the 3-run home run by Cabrera.
The Yankees in Boston are already done. We're still playing. That's a new one.
Nothing to the Hood. They do tend to play long games.
Whoa.
But the Yankees won that, which denied the Red Sox a chance to clinch on the field at Yankee Stadium. Toronto won their game as well, so the Red Sox magic number remains at 1. And the Blue Jays now 2 games in front of Baltimore for that first wild card spot. Slider off the plate. Detroit won tonight. They shut out the Indians 12-0 behind Justin Verlander. And so the Tigers are just 1 game behind the Orioles for the second wild card. And if Seattle wins, they'll be only 1 game behind. But the Mariners, who had a 4-2 lead, just gave up 6 runs in the 6th in Houston, and they're down 8-4.
Well, that game's not over. Houston's had all kinds of trouble late in the game with their relievers.
And the Astros are trying to stay alive in their own right. If they were to win, they would be 2.5 behind Baltimore for that second wild card. So nothing decided there yet.
It's going to be a fun weekend, isn't it?
Do you know where you're going Sunday?
I am. I'm going to Boston. Toronto at Boston.
One-two from Familia, and Wood takes the sinker low and away. 2-2.
I got to drop my R's for the whole weekend. Perfect.
Have some Jimmies?
Yeah, have some Jimmies. I want something to drink. I can go to the Bubbler.
Maybe get a frap.
If hungry, get a grinder.
Two-two to Hood, and he just got a piece of that to stay alive. Noah Syndergaard went the first 6. A lot of run on 5 hits. His first start in 8 days, coming back from strep throat. Syndergaard looked good. Didn't have his overpowering fastball, but didn't need it. No walks, 8 strikeouts.
He was fine.
Lowered his ERA to 2.60, third best in the league behind Kyle Hendricks and John Lester. Two coming, and Hood takes a slider for strike 3 call. 2 men down.
That's that slider that starts right at you, and you give up on it, and it just breaks over in the middle of the plate.
So the Marlins are down to their final out, and now Xavier Scruggs will bat for the first time. That's 4 games to go after tonight. And if you're into the numerology of the situation, a win for the Mets will reduce their magic number to 4 for clinching a postseason berth. Any combination of Mets wins and Cardinals losses after tonight, totaling 4, would get them a spot. 2-0 now to Scruggs.
I mean, you got to feel as though you're fighting to win all these games so that you get Wednesday in your ballpark.
And if possible, not have to pitch Syndergaard on Sunday so that you can save him for that wild card game. That's got to be part of the goal too at this point.
And if San Francisco stays behind the Mets but far enough in front of the Cardinals, they wouldn't have to pitch Bumgarner on the weekend. So that'll be your matchup.
Scruggs takes a knee-high strike, 2-1. That would be something, wouldn't it? Syndergaard and Bumgarner on Wednesday.
And both can rake.
Two-one from Familia, and Scruggs with a half swing and a miss. And now the Marlins are down to their last strike. Got a piece, and Scruggs hangs in there. 20 pitches in the inning for Familia, probably a little more than Terry Collins would have hoped for in getting Jay Reese an inning of work. But he should be good to go tomorrow, unless he throws a ton more. Two coming, and he got him with the slider to end the ball game. Back-to-back strikeouts for Familia to put the close on it, as the Mets are up for 12 runs and 19 hits. Jay Bruce with a 2-run homer in the second inning that put the Mets ahead, and the Mets ride that from there to a 12-1 victory to get even in the series and reduce their magic number for a postseason berth to 4.
Offensive night for the Metsies, 19 hits, as Gary said. Jay Bruce right there really swung the bat well tonight. Only had 2 hits to show for it, but one big 2-run bomb. And on the rise, Cespedes gets a home run. Reyes with 3 hits. Just a big night for just about everybody.
And I think getting Noah Syndergaard right is the key.
Game summary presented by Verizon. Syndergaard gets his 14th win, lowers his ERA to 2.60. Bruce